Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I go by the name of Absolute Dusk. So I wanted to make this video to basically go over some tips and tricks that I've been using for dieting and for pretty much just trying to lower my body fat percentage. So I'm going to start this video off by introducing basically who I am, at least in the realm of working out and fitness. So in my last video, I've stated that I've been working out for about 8 years now. So I think about 2014 going on 2015, I started in high school. Up on the video, you should see some pictures about now of some of the photos I took during high school. You can see how skinny I was, but you can kind of see like the beginning of my fitness journey. You can probably even see me in middle school. Pretty much, I was taking a picture with my cousin. I'm pretty chunky. I was a pretty chunky kid in middle school. Yeah, and then throughout high school, I started working out my junior year, which is about 2014, going on 2015. And yeah, started getting some muscle. Looked pretty lean back then. It's probably the leanest I've ever been. I've got one photo of me in the gym locker room taking a picture with some of my friends, and man, that is probably the most abdominal muscle I've ever seen on my frame ever. So I'm trying to like get to that level of leanness again. I'd be so proud of myself if I can do that. Anyway, that's pretty much how I got started, how my physique started. Where am I now? So right now I weigh about I actually weighed in at 203 pounds this morning, 203.6 to be exact. Really proud of that because I started somewhere around 218 in July. I gained a lot of what you might call relationship weight, and so I've been working on reducing that. We love going to brunch, and I used to order 2 meals because I just couldn't not have 2 meals. There were just a lot of good options. So my current goals right now are to maintain as much muscle mass as I possibly can and even build some if that's possible while getting rid of body fat. What am I doing to get to that weight? I started tracking macros. So really the most important one you're probably worried about is protein. I try to keep my carbs below a certain amount. If you use MyFitnessPal, it'll calculate, what the percentages of each macro are depending on, what you set one to. So I set my calorie goal to be 2,000 net calories a day, and I set my macros for protein to be somewhere between 180 to 200 grams of protein. Right now I'm aiming for 200 grams of protein, and I weigh about 200 pounds. So the rule of thumb usually is a gram of protein per pound of body weight. You don't necessarily need that. So just from watching Jeff Nippard, Athlean-X, More Plates, More Dates videos, these YouTubers, Greg Doucette, I've learned that you only need between 0.7 to 0.9 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So you don't actually need to do a gram, but they've all agreed that more protein is obviously still better. I mean, there's a point where more protein is no longer needed, but I think at least that 1 gram per pound of body weight is a pretty good starting point. Tracking macros, I set mine to 200 and kind of shift around the fats and carbs inside the MyFitnessPal app based upon that. And then I'm also eating 2,000 calories or less depending on how the day goes. So I specifically aim for net calories. I don't aim for consumed calories because I think if I burned it off that day, I deserve to still eat 2,000 calories. Like I might have like a total of like maybe 2,600 or 2,500 calories consumed, but I'll have a net calories of 2,000 if I went on a 30-minute walk that day and had an hour-long workout as well. So I like to count and go by net calories and keep that under the 2,000 goal if I can. I mentioned walking 30 minutes a day, so that's something that I've added. I usually go on my lunch breaks at work because I work from home. It's very convenient. It's a nice little stroll throughout the neighborhood, and it's a good way for me to add in extra calorie burning and just get my metabolism up. Also, because I sit at my desk so long every day, it is good to get moving when you've been sedentary for a long time. And I also sleep at least 8 hours a day. I could do a separate video on that. if anyone's interested, but basically I track my sleep using an app, and I actually pay for the app because I like to listen to the recordings and see what I do in my sleep. So I'd like to know if I'm talking, what am I saying? If I'm snoring, how often am I snoring? How long am I snoring? So I do track my sleep, and I try to optimize that as well. That might be a little overkill, but do try to get 8 hours of sleep. And if you notice you're someone who snores, there are a couple of tips and tricks that I have for that as well, so I can put that in a video at a later time. The other things that I am doing to get to my goal weight, or to get to my goal leanness, because weight's really not the goal, it's really just leanness, and tracking my weight is just a way for me to determine if I am getting towards my goal and hitting my goal. So the last thing that I'm doing is obviously working out, going to the gym and doing weight training and progressively overloading, all the nice things that you know you're supposed to do as you go to the gym. And currently my split is between Saturday and Wednesday. I know, 5 days a week. Why don't I do Monday through Friday? Couple of reasons. I changed it to match my girlfriend's schedule. We're both really busy people. I have a full-time job. She's in medical school. So, you know, trying to get our schedules to align is pretty hard. And having those weekends where there's a lot more free time for both of us is a very convenient way to get those workouts in together. So I start off on Saturday with chest and biceps. Then I hit heavy legs. On Sunday, I go back and tries. On Monday, I hit glutes on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we finish off with arms and upper backs, which is biceps, triceps, rear delts, and some lower traps. And on that same day we also do a little bit of hip abduction and hip adduction work as well. I can go into detail on why my workout split is the way that it is and why I'm doing it that way also in another video if anyone is interested. So please comment below if that is something that you would like to hear about. Okay, so to the meaty part of the video, the chunk of it, what you guys came here to listen to, the tips and tricks for pretty much dieting, tracking macros, and you know how to lose fat. And basically most of this is really just tips around what you can do to make your foods work for you better. So the first thing that I started doing, that I recommend that everyone else start doing if you're watching this video, is track your calories. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to consistently track your calories for the rest of your life. No, you don't have to do that. I've personally been pretty consistent for the last couple of months, but just do it even for a week. And the reason why I recommend this is because you want to get an insight on how much you're actually eating and what is hurting your gains the most. You might actually track your calories for a week and find out that you're never hitting your protein goal because you're not eating enough protein. And you might actually find out that you're not even getting enough calories in, or maybe getting too many calories in. And now you're suffering for that. All of that extra calories are getting stored as fat on your body. So personally, I started tracking my calories. It gave me so much insight into what foods I was eating and consuming that I thought might have been healthy, but were actually hurting my gains or making me gain weight. Another thing that I do along with tracking my calories is tracking my weight, and as it changes, I log it into the MyFitnessPal app. I'm sure you hear a lot of people talk about this app. It's because it's free and it offers pretty much all the features that you would need for free, and it's super useful. So I recommend not just logging your weight, but also take pictures as well so you can compare and see how it looks. See if you're actually seeing fat come off of your body in certain parts of your body. Okay, next major tip. Sleep 8 hours a day. So I'm not a professional. I don't even know that much about this field and this subject in general, but I feel like I have a really good idea of how to implement the advice that I receive from others. So I cannot give you the scientific facts or research behind sleeping, but I think everyone knows that sleeping an adequate amount is good for you and it is good for your gains. So I will recommend this as a tip, but what I recommend that you do is you check out YouTubers who can give you that kind of information because you should still have it. So I'm going to reference you to a YouTuber named Jeff Nippard. You can also check out Athlean X, Greg Doucette, or More Plates, More Dates. Either one of these YouTubers have probably made a video already about sleep, and they're probably the ones who I've gotten my information from. So I highly recommend, if you want more details about how sleep affects your gains and why it's so important, I highly recommend you go check them out. But yes, it's very important for a plethora of things, especially just your longevity in general. So yeah, please do get 8 hours of sleep. Next major tip, and this is the one that is really the meat and bones of this video, because what can I offer you that maybe others are not offering you in their YouTube videos? And that would be the substitutes that I use for my foods. One of them's not on this list, so I'm going to start with that one before I forget and get to the actual list, and that is protein puffs. So there is a company named Twin Peaks. You can order some of their chips from Amazon. I won't lie to you, they're not the most flavorful, but at least they have a variety of flavors. And per serving, which is about a cup, I think 28 grams, is 120 calories and 21 grams of protein. That is an incredible amount of protein in just some chips. You can throw them on the side with your sandwiches, which is what I typically do. You might see that in some of these pictures as well. And it is a very good way for you to get extra protein into your diet. And it tastes good enough, okay? Like, not everything you eat when you're dieting, trying to shred, keep your protein intake high is going to taste amazing. And, you know, it doesn't mean you have to, like, always settle, but it's a good substitute. So I highly recommend it. So one thing that I like to substitute is milk. For coffee specifically, I choose to use almond milk. Per cup, it's only 30 calories. Now, it provides a bunch of vitamins in it too. So if you wanted to use a low calorie option for your creamer, that's a great thing to first substitute out. So other than just coffee, for things like pancakes or if you're making anything else, low fat milk comes in at only 80 calories and 13 grams of protein. Now let me stress, not just any low fat milk. I specifically buy Fairlife ultra filtered milk. I don't know what they do to their milk, but for some reason, their milk has a lot of protein in it. And when you get the fat out of the milk, because fat carries about twice as many calories per gram than carbs or proteins, it's really like it's easy to sneak in extra calories when things have fat in them. Okay, next one, Magic Spoon cereal. So I did a video on this before. You guys can check it out. I'm not sponsored. I don't have an affiliate link. I'm not going to get you a discount. But I personally feel like it's a good product for what it does. It gives you an alternative for breakfast that is high in protein and low in calories. You're eating maybe somewhere between 120 and 150 calories in the morning and getting about 13 to 15 grams of protein per serving. Now, you can easily double that and only go up to maybe, I don't know, between 240 and 300 calories, and then get somewhere between 26 and 30 grams of protein. You add in a cup of milk with those 2 servings of cereal, now you've jumped that 30 up to possibly 43 grams of protein at only about, let's say 80 on top of it, 480 calories, less than 500 calories, and you're getting almost 50 grams of protein for your breakfast in the morning. Well, 43. That's solid, man. Honestly, personally, I think it's a good idea. Anyway, moving on to the next one, low-fat Greek yogurt. So I didn't look at the calorie amount, but it's about 17 grams of protein per serving. I'm sure the calories are probably low because it's low fat. So you can use this in a variety of ways. This morning, you know, the day that I'm recording this video, I made some crepes. It really were supposed to be just pancakes, but I added the low-fat milk to the mix, and it was too much. I only used about, I think, half cup, and it ended up being too much. So it was kind of watery, so it made the pancakes thin. Decided to make them crepes, added some blueberries, added some chocolate chips, added some Greek yogurt as the filling. Obviously, I didn't have whipped cream, but it added so much extra protein, and I counted by the gram. And yeah, my breakfast this morning might have come up to like 1,100 calories, but I got 114 grams of protein there. That's more than half of my goal. I mean, it's more than half of my calorie goal too, but it's more than half of my goal for protein intake for the day. And because breakfast is usually my biggest meal, this is okay. Anyway, moving on. Fruits. Fruits are a really good way for you to eat something that's low calorie, has a lot of fiber, and will keep you full and satiated. Now, protein will also keep you full and satiated. I don't know which one's better than the other. Like I said, refer to one of those YouTubers that know what they're talking about. I'm just giving you advice about what I'm using, what's working for me. And fruits, you can easily just eat a fruit and it'll fill you up. You probably won't be full until it finishes breaking down and digesting in your system. Next, PB Fit. So I have pretty much substituted anything that would normally use regular peanut butter with PB Fit. It's about 70 calories, and you get 8 grams of protein per serving. You could easily mix this into your pancake mixes, which is what I did. I have a protein pancake mix that I put it in this morning for making those pancakes. You can mix it into your oatmeal. You can mix it into all types of things, anything that peanut butter might taste good in. And it adds a decent amount of protein. If you wanted to do 2 servings, 140 calories, 16 grams of protein, it's pretty decent, pretty solid. Okay, another substitute that I made, kombucha. So a lot of people like diet soda. A lot of people might like, well, I don't know anyone that likes drinking water as an alternative, but maybe you drink some, low calorie options, basically is my point. I like kombucha for 2 reasons. One, it's fairly low calorie for the amount of drink that you get out of it. So you'd easily get 12 to 16 ounces from a 50 calorie serving. And you can get it in a variety of flavors. That's the first reason. But the second reason is that it's good for your gut health. Now, gut health is important for all types of things. All right, just digesting and breaking down the nutrients in your food, all that stuff, how well you digest things. Gut health is important for all those things. I don't know all the details, but maybe somebody has a video out there about why kombucha or gut health is really good. But yes, I personally like it because I like the flavors that I buy are pretty good. Clear Mind is the name of one brand, or Dr. Brew or something like that is another one. I think Synergy is the name of another kombucha brand. You can look for them. They're out there. I think they're great. Basically, if you don't know what kombucha is, it is fermented tea, and it has bacteria cultures in it that are good bacteria that help your gut health, your microbiome. Okay, moving on to the next option here, the next substitution. This is not really so much of a substitution, but something that is helpful for you, obviously, is your post-workout protein. So if you're not currently taking a post-workout protein and you're not getting enough protein in your diet, you don't necessarily have to take it post-workout, but that's the time that I usually take my protein. Get an additional like 25 to 30 grams of protein depending on the brand that you buy, and usually it's at pretty low calories. I mean, my protein of choice is 110 calories at 24 grams of protein. That's pretty solid. So you have options here. You can go to the store, GNC or whatever nutrition store you want to go to. Check those out. It's a really good way to get some extra protein into your diet. Moving on. That one's pretty simple. I don't think that one needs much explanation. So the next one is nighttime casein. So casein's another type of protein. It is a slow digesting protein, and you can get it in powder form just like regular whey isolate. And I have 23 grams of protein in the whey product, that the casein product that I use. And I take it before bed. The reason why I take it before bed, and you can reference a Jeff Nippard video for this when he goes over his day of eating and why he eats cottage cheese as a snack before he goes to sleep, because it has a lot of casein in it. It's good at slowing down or stopping the process for breaking down muscle. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, I think it's called going catabolic or something. And anabolic's the building of muscle, catabolic is the breaking down of muscle. I don't know how you say the word. Anyway. But yes, it keeps you full for a longer period of time because it takes so long to digest, and it's very good for stopping muscle breakdown. So I take that every night, and it adds an extra 23 grams of protein to my diet at only 110 calories. So our next option here are protein-packed alternatives for things like pancake mix, oatmeal, and bread. So pancake mix, you can definitely find protein packed alternatives of that. Oatmeal, you can find some protein packed alternatives of that as well. I think there's a brand called Kodiak that makes pancakes and oatmeal in protein versions. And as for bread, you don't necessarily need to look for protein bread. As far as I know, I haven't seen any protein bread inside of the store, but you can check the protein and to calorie ratio on breads inside of your supermarket. I went to Trader Joe's recently and found out about something called Ezekiel Bread. It has a Bible verse on it. I don't remember what the number was, but it is very high in protein for its calorie count. It's lower in calories than most of the breads that I've used before, and it's higher in protein than most of the breads that I used before. So I'm excited to start making sandwiches with it. And speaking of sandwiches, some of the alternatives you can use for sandwiches are light mayo. So I was looking for an alternative spread other than mayonnaise to use on sandwiches, but instead of just like using light mayo, I was like struggling to find something that wasn't mayonnaise. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with like light mayo. So I mean, as long as my sandwich isn't dry, I'm fine. So yeah, light mayo, it's got like half the calories for about the same amount of mayo. It's pretty good. I'd recommend it. Okay. I also recommend for your sandwiches, you can use turkey or chicken breast. They're very high in protein and low in calories. So you can throw like 3-4 slices on there. You get a good 20 plus grams of protein in there. Sometimes more. Depends on what you're putting in there. Last but not least, for my tips for substituting your foods or finding low calorie options or trying to lose this weight or keep your protein intake up to be able to build more muscle effectively, look up recipes. Yes, you need to learn how to cook. Cooking is very important. Okay, so if you don't currently know any recipes that are high protein, go on Pinterest. Pinterest is the tool that I choose to use for looking up new recipes and learning new stuff. You know, you'll see some of the plates up here in the video, some of the things that I got from Pinterest. One of my favorites that I've recently learned how to make was this Spanish chickpea chicken. And it's basically brown rice, onions, tomatoes, peppers, garlic, chicken breast, and chickpeas in a one pot, boiled with some chicken broth, and you get almost 50 grams of protein per serving, which is about 500 calories, more or less, depending on what ingredients you use. And I mean, I don't see how you can ask for more. You get almost 50 grams of protein in a 500 calorie serving, and it's like a decent dinner meal. Like it's really good. It actually tastes good. So you can find so many different recipes and alternatives for cooking your food and for making high protein options. There's so many things that you can do. So, you know, these are just some of the tips that I've come across through YouTube videos, through, you know, just watching content, reading stuff, going through Pinterest posts. So I highly recommend that you guys at least try one of these tips, see if they work for you, and using them in conjunction for sure will help you out. If you like this video and this kind of content, please do subscribe. Please like the video. Please check out my Instagram. I'll be posting lifts. I'll be trying to do heavy lifts. I'm not really deadlifts and squats. Maybe also doing anime art. If you want to check out some of the artwork that I'm working on, some of the in progress stuff, that's also on Instagram. Most of my content really is on Instagram, but I'm going to try to start to post more on YouTube as well, like this video. So yeah, if you're interested in anything anime related, anything fitness related, I also stream video games often on Twitch. If you want to check out my Twitch channel, I'm probably going to leave a link for all of those things in the description. So yeah, if you like that, please like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.